My name is Anne Cooper. I'm a coffee roasting consultant, trainer and roaster based in Melbourne, Australia. Now this is the first in a series of 5 videos, and when trying to think of a topic, I kept coming back to one of the most common things I get asked by roasters when I'm consulting and training, and that's something based around something I like to call beyond the cooling tray. It's all the things that we wonder and we, I guess, worry about in terms of, how do I know I'm doing okay? Am I on the right track? How do I set myself up for success every time I roast? So what I'd like to do then is put together some tips and tricks and some really good information that will help you guys with your roasting. But before we do that, how about just a little bit about myself? So I've been in the coffee industry for more than 25 years now. And I first started as, I was a typical university student, straight out of school, just working in a cafe. I started in the kitchen, washing dishes, and then started learning how to make pizza and pasta, all that kind of fun stuff. And then one night, front of house didn't turn up for work. So they looked at me and naturally went, well, you're the most logical person to go out the front. Off you go. So out I went and started learning how to obviously take orders, set tables, deliver food, make drinks, and that also meant learning how to make coffee. So that's where I first had my scary introduction to making coffee. Especially, I'll never forget the first time steaming milk and burning myself on the steam wand and just thinking, oh my goodness, what is this coffee making business? But I quickly learnt that this coffee making business is something that I really loved. And more than anything, I was very attracted to the instant results part of this coffee making business. Because as we all know, there's nothing more satisfying than a customer giving us an order and we get to make it and give it to them exactly as they've asked, and they're really happy. So we're happy because they're happy. Everyone's happy. So I continued to pursue more coffee focused roles after starting that initial introduction into coffee making, and ironically ended up back at university but working on the coffee carts. And these coffee carts were high volume, very fast paced, definitely doing the same thing over and over again, and having that opportunity to be able to repeat and do things over and over again, I believe really allowed me to really hone my skill as a barista and really learn some great skills in terms of organising and the skill of taking on that order and delivering it to the customer as efficiently as possible. And yeah, it was just great fun. As a result of that fast-paced environment, there was also an opportunity to start training other team members. So training then starts naturally becoming a part of that role. So having felt that I'd reached a bit of a ceiling with working on the coffee carts and that high volume, I started to seek more opportunities within actual cafes. So moving back into a cafe environment also meant doing more training and more management. So then learning how to manage people. And you quickly realize, as being potentially the best barista, are you necessarily the best person to manage people? So again, great opportunities learnt in terms of training and management in those cafe situations. Lots of high volume, but also opportunities to meet other people, especially suppliers. Suppliers are great people with great connections. So for me, dealing with the coffee supplier meant that they saw that I really enjoyed training. They then offered me the opportunity to start working with them, training their clients. So I started working training with a large coffee company, became an accredited trainer, doing the Prepare and Serve Certificate 4 barista training here in Australia. And that also then meant taking on one of their bigger clients, which was a franchise client. So now I'd moved from starting in a kitchen, washing dishes, making pizza and pasta, working my way through all the different roles and levels as a barista to now working in more of a corporate environment, working in franchising, and learning another element, another aspect of business training and management. So fabulous lessons learnt. But part of me was also still yearning again that hands-on interaction, working with coffee. So I decided to get involved in the barista competitions, and I ended up doing quite well. I was my regional or Queensland champion from 06 to 08. And as a result, again, you meet fabulous people, often whether it's somebody watching you from another company, whether it's someone that's consistently judged you and knows your story really well. But the barista competitions also, of course, mean that we need to know more about the green. And knowing more about the green also means knowing more about how to roast it and better understand the flavors that we want to present to the judges. So naturally, my attention started turning towards roasting through the barista competitions. And so that's where I got my first role as a roaster. So the company I worked for was quite a large commercial company. We had a 60 kilo petroncini, and we were roasting approximately 10 tonne a week on that roaster when I first started. And it was all manual, all hand scooping, lots of physical lifting. But I think for those of us, again, we're in that opportunity to learn a new skill. So we all just embraced it. But definitely in hindsight now, and I definitely know things are improving now in the industry, but definitely helping employers better understand how to set their workers up for success in the roasting room in particular, by making it easier in terms of moving the green, loading, scooping, just general movement around the roasting room is definitely something that we need to keep on monitoring and improving quite a lot. Then with the company growing, then we had to get a 120 kilo roaster. That also then meant learning more intricate processes in terms of management of a stock. So we had to embrace programs like SAP. So again, thinking about where I'd come from in terms of washing dishes, making pizza and pasta, now I'm, learning how to better manage inventory, using basically corporate programs that you would never have dreamt of, potentially getting exposure to if it wasn't for this opportunity that I'd had to move into roasting. So my first role in roasting was pretty much jumping straight in terms of not only having to learn the skill of roasting, but really getting a chance to embrace team management and inventory management from a production and manufacturing perspective, which roasting is. Roasting is production and manufacturing. So then after that role, I had the opportunity to live and work in the US. And that was as a result of my husband being sponsored by Colgate. So he was working for them at the time. And head office for Colgate is in Manhattan, and the technology center is in New Jersey. So he got sponsored to work between both offices, and as a result, I was also able to be on the same visa and live and work in the US. So I was in New York for almost 4 years, and had the opportunity to work for a company called Dallas Brothers Coffee. And initially, when I first moved to New York, I actually panicked. I didn't think that I was good enough to be able to work in the US. And I definitely did the upskilling. So I did my Q graders, and I still maintain that to this day, hoping that would help, get a foot in the door in terms of based on also my roasting experience from back in Australia. And not being the kind of personality to put myself out there, we had to. So I was definitely had to put myself out there in the sense of going to visit a lot of roasters, going to events, going along to cuppings. So probably the one of the main reasons why I got my job at Dallas Brothers was because I went to one of their monthly cuppings, and then at the end of the cupping did the old, so let me help you clean up, and by the way, are there any jobs going here at the moment? So again, just, you know, taking the time to say hi, introduce yourself, get to know people. So again, really reinforcing the relationship aspect of the coffee industry. And yeah, if I had never have stopped to do what I did, I would never have gotten the opportunity just to get an interview, and to then eventually end up with the roasting role at Dallas Brothers. So by working at Dallas Brothers, a fabulous opportunity to then really put my Q graders to work. So I was working alongside, also doing the production roasting for the specialty program, but also working with the green bean buyer. And that meant doing all of the sample roasting, setting up all of the cuppings, and being involved in all of the cupping and assessment and purchasing decisions with the green bean buyer. So fabulous opportunity to really get the chance to learn and roast so many different origins, and also be involved with the company's owners, which was a Brazilian company, which was O Coffee at the time. So we got to go down to O Coffee every year, work with the team there. I did a lot of work and training with the roasting team. They had an amazing education centre and roasting facility set up there. So I got a chance to work with the main sample roasters that would be monitoring the coffee they would be regularly roasting samples as they came off the patio, just to start checking the quality, and then start preparing samples for sale and go from there. So yeah, amazing opportunities to work with roasting from an origin perspective, which was really cool. And then also got involved with the Barista Guild and the Roasters Guild while I was at Dallas Brothers. So with the Barista Guild, I got a chance to dust off my competition tamper, and I got involved in the barista competitions and competed at NERBC and did really well, came in the top 6. And then as a result, that means you get automatic qualification to go to USBC. So here I am, 2013, standing at USBC in this massive arena. Yeah, very overwhelming experience, but absolutely fabulous and amazing, because for an Aussie like me, it was really cool putting lots of faces to names, meeting so many amazing people. So, you know, you'd be seeing all these, you know, people that you'd only ever read about in Barista Magazine, or you'd seen them on the internet, and all of a sudden they're right next to you, getting ready to compete with you. So yeah, amazing experience. I definitely recommend, if you have the opportunity to live and work in another coffee culture or country, go for it. Highly recommend it. It's fantastic. And then also got involved with the Roasters Guild. So I had a bit of a dream introduction to Roasters Guild with Dallas Brothers, especially by attending my very first Roasters Guild retreat. And my very first retreat was fantastic because I was on the winning team for the team challenge. So of course that made the whole experience even more sweeter. But that aside, still to this day, the people that I met at that very first retreat are still fabulous, you know, really good industry friends, people that I know that I can reach out to for help at any point. So again, really reinforcing that, you know, that coffee is a relationship industry. So since attending my first retreat, I think it was like 2011, got a chance to get involved with the Executive Council before unification, and doing a bit of work with the Education Committee. So I still do a little bit of work and research with SCA, where I've created some workshops where we still teach those at Expo every year. But just, yeah, again, the whole community with Roasters Guild is fantastic in the sense of, again, knowing you've got people to reach out to when you need any advice and any help. So then, sadly, finishing my time in the US, came back to Australia and landed in Melbourne. and did a bit of work with Proud Mary Coffee and Axel Coffee Roasters. But again, part of me, kind of like with my barista days, was feeling like I'd reached a ceiling in terms of what I'd achieved with my production roasting in particular. So I thought, with my range of experience from specialty through to commercial roasting, I really felt confident that I was able to put myself out there as a trainer and consultant and help other roasters succeed with their roasting. And especially in Australia, with it being such a niche market with so many cafes and just a lot of thirst for knowledge and understanding about roasting. So it was just it felt right, and it felt like the right thing for me to do was to start training with roasting. So 5 years ago now, I set up my roasting course. So once a month, I run what I call my awesome monthly roasting course. But ultimately, the course is based around offering very good, practical, hands-on understanding of the roasting process. And again, recognizing that there's only so much you can do by reading the books, scouring the internet, posting a question on a forum, getting a truckload of different opinions, when you can come along to this course and really give yourself a chance to really see roasting for what it is. So I'm a very big fan of, I don't sugarcoat the whole process. It's very clear, it's very upfront, and it's exactly what you would be doing if you were doing production roasting. So, and regardless on whether you're a complete beginner or really experienced, everyone's unified by that roasting exercise where we get the same coffee and we roast it 3 different ways. Because then along with those 3 different approaches comes specific data and parameters and decision making to help define those, different types and style, those different roasting styles. So yeah, so that's really fantastic. And the groups are always really small, so you get plenty of hands-on practical time on the machines as well. So it's really fun. So definitely something I've been quite passionate about. Obviously, yeah, in the last 5 years is that roasting course and giving people a chance to get hands-on and really involved in the roasting process so they can make a better decision about, do they want to forge ahead and step into the industry? Or if you're experienced, you may see something that you've never realized, or you wanted to test a theory but never had the opportunity to do that in your own roasting, in your own workplace. And then when I'm not doing the roasting course, I then am working as a consultant, moving around Australia. I have some clients in the US as well. And so definitely in the last 5 years, I've been in hundreds of different roasting rooms. I've used hundreds of different roasting machines. And so I'm very spoilt in the sense that I've had that exposure and opportunity to use all of those different machines. And at the end of the day, from all of those different situations and all of the many different, opinions that are out there on how best to roast, we're all unified by the fact that we're roasting something to taste. We are in the business of flavor, and there's always an underlying decision that's backing that up. So that's what I wanted to offer for you guys, is based on my own experience through my training and consulting, and my own career experience as well, is giving you some really great tips and tricks on how you can always frame yourself up for success while you're roasting. So the things we're going to focus on is definitely starting with knowing your green, then knowing your machine and your roaster, and then ultimately finishing with knowing your flavors. So thanks for listening, and you can learn a little bit more about me and see what I'm up to, whether it's on Instagram. So I'm Roastress Coops on Instagram. My website is eqmr.com.au, and I look forward to seeing you for the next video. I'll see you at the machine.